Hello, and thank you very much for the invitation to address the conference by means of this short video. I want to thank the Ombudswoman not only for the invitation, but for the initiative to convene the event. The filth to which our children are exposed online is entirely unacceptable and very worrying. It is a real danger in our societies, already doing great harm. And so therefore the topic of this conference is extremely timely and highly important. I particularly welcome that as you seek to engage with protecting children from this filth online, that you do so in a spirit of deep consultation across all of the various voices within society that must be listened to. This pathway of consultation is exactly the way our states should go as they look at policing this element of the internet. And it's not, by the way, done automatically in every place. In fact, I'm worried at the moment that in some countries at least, the rush to a ban is too fast and too unconsidered in terms of the nuance and the challenge of getting it right. So what does consultation look like? What should it look like? Well, it should look at the different human rights at play. It should look at the fact that if you were to go for a complete prohibition on access for children under a certain age to everything on the internet, how that engages issues of freedom of expression. Because freedom of expression is as much about a right to receive information as it is to impart information. And so I'm not suggesting here that a ban will not have its proper place, but it must be considered in this reflective way. Another issue to keep in mind, to the extent we're looking at blanket prohibitions, is the analogy of the library. Where is today's library for children? It's not in a room stacked with books. It's in the phone. It's on the laptop. And would we ban access to a whole library because of some bad books in that library? I think we'd find that problematic. Keep that in mind in your own deliberations and discussions today. Another very important consideration I suggest in the discussions is how not to let the platforms off the hook. The platforms are the facilitators of the problem, and enforcing regulation on them must be an integral part of our own engagement in terms of making the internet safe. And so in the EU context, it's about, for example, sturdy enforcement of the Digital Services Act. But in whatever pathway we're talking about, be it EU or national legislation and the enforcement of national legislation, keep in mind the importance of not putting the primary burden on children and remembering that it must always be placed on the platforms, on the industries, within the context of which the harm gets done. And finally, one last suggestion to you as you engage in this important set of consultations is to involve children. Make sure that children are directly involved in discussion around their own well-being and the best solutions in their interests and in respect for their human rights. Children have a lot to say. They need the constructed spaces in which they're allowed to share their view in a manner where it's respectfully received. But I wish you very well for your deliberations, and again I applaud you for this important initiative. Thank you.